You're welcome to Let's Talk.
We should sit down and talk. We need to sit down and talk. How Nigeria corruption, how we're going to do our job.
We want to stand up and say no to corruption. We're going to do our job because I think the system, you are not just doing good for yourself or for the nation, you also do good for the future.
Boko Haram is an attack, it's a spiritual attack. It's a satanic attack on Nigeria. We must, if we come to recognize it, we will understand then how to look for the solution.
The Sovereign National Conference, how do we want to achieve that in our present system? We need to sit down and iron out how Nigeria.
This is Let's Talk. As you know, we always take a look at crucial issues, talking about current developments on the Nigerian scene. And today we'll be talking about the new petroleum industry bill. Okay, that is what is on the front burner. And with me to do just that is a gentleman. His name is Mr. Adeni Adenosi. He's a legal practitioner and a social commentator. And really, it's great to have you here on the show, sir.
Great to have you.
I hope you didn't have too much challenge coming to our studios today.
No, the traffic was quite light.
Okay, and Mr. Adeni will be providing us with a lot of answers that we have a lot of questions for him today. Well, let me start with the issue on ground, sir. Talking about the petroleum industry bill now, the bill that has been, a lot of Nigerians have been expecting to be passed, and because of a lot of promises that it has in store for the oil sector. And talking about the reformation that is being done by the President Goodluck Jonathan's administration right now to see that there's a level playing field for all the players in the industry and bringing in domestic, how do you call it, domestic participation, and talking about companies and creating employment and jobs. Well, there is no doubt that this bill, according to statements and what it's supposed to achieve, it's going to create more jobs, and Nigeria's production indigenously will increase. Presently we are operating at about say 25,000 barrels per day, and it's supposed to take us up beyond that, if it is implemented. Now, the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Desiani Alison Maduke, says that she will make sure it is pushed, and it will maximize production capacity without constraints. And that is the promises that are coming out. And Nigeria's capacity will move from 2.5 million barrels to about 4 million barrels. And I think we can kiss fuel scarcity goodbye, if that comes to play. But the question today, sir, is do you see this move as the answer to our woes, our challenges in the oil sector?
Well, it's a welcome development, no doubt about it.
Okay.
And if it works, of course, it's going to help the economy, it's going to help Nigeria.
All right.
But I do not see this PIB as a magic wand to just make all the challenges go away. The truth of the matter is the problems that should have been addressed still have not been addressed. This is not the first time. I mean, we have about 16 different legislations that have to do with this oil sector.
Okay.
Now, the PIB wants to repeal all these ones. What we must realize is this. It's one thing to have a process. It's another thing to have good people, honest people in charge of that process. The problem with the oil sector is corruption.
Okay.
It's not the enabling acts. It's not that there is no law. Now, so many people have been charged to court concerning corruption. How many have been prosecuted and jailed?
Okay.
If convicted, of course. What we see is a lot of noise on the newspapers, and then that's the end of the matter. The laws are there. This is just razzmatazz, let me put it that way. The laws are there. The problem is with the people, not with the laws. This is just another law that has to be regulated by right-thinking people.
Amongst other laws.
Amongst other laws, yes. So if that is not done, we're just deceiving ourselves. We won't make any progress. And from what I have seen, from the comments, people are more interested in talking than putting things in place. So I don't think it's a magic one. It's a step in the right direction, but as to solving all these problems that people talk about, I'm a bit, you know, skeptical about it. That's the truth.
So in essence, what you are saying, it is not yet Uhuru as
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, it's said that the passage of the bill, it's needed to unblock billions of dollars that have been stalled in investment into exploration and production, though it has been stuck for around 5 years right now. And ministers and parliamentarians have not been able to come to a consensus on the details, on drawing up, you know, a blueprint. What is the contention here? What is causing the conflict of interest, if you ask?
Now, conflict of interest, that's a good phrase. You see, the PIB wants to reform the industry.
Okay.
It's a revolution.
All right.
You understand? Now, everybody knows that the oil sector is the most corrupt.
All right.
And, I mean, the reasons are not far-fetched. I mean, that's the golden...
That's a gold mine.
It's a gold mine.
The goose that lays the golden egg.
There are a lot of interests. Okay. There are a lot of people who have been milking the economy of this nation because they have had monopoly. Now, I'm not talking about foreigners.
Okay.
Foreigners cannot operate in any country without the help of the local people there. There are some people who have made billions of dollars. There are some individuals who have become so powerful. There are some people you would not even, I mean, their names are not even in the press. Now, it will be very naive for anybody to think that such a new bill that wants to, you know, regularize things, make things more open, more transparent, is just going to be allowed to go in like that.
And it's not going to be business as usual.
It can't happen. There's no way it's going to happen. The House, the National Assembly is the one that, well, the president is supposed to forward this new bill to them.
Okay.
What happened, the 6th Assembly, was that immediately it got there, it was killed. What they have said is that there were about at least 3 different versions flying about. So because of this, they didn't even know which one to debate. Now a fresh one is coming. Are we sure that this vested interest, people who are not interested in any progress being made, are they going to leave the legislators alone? That's the big question there. We all know what goes on in Abuja. The Ghana must go, the dollars.
Legislators resist the pressure that comes from.
So that's the thing. Too many vested interests. And the government itself, well, the political will is not there. That is the truth. So is it going to, you know, just happen like that? It's not going to happen like that. I will be surprised if this sails through without, you know, any problems.
So you're saying that the challenges facing that bill being passed right now are quite daunting?
Oh, yes, they are. They are. If you know the amount of corruption in the oil sector, this is something built on patronage. It's oil blocks were being used in the past to reward friends. Danjuma, General Danjuma, for example, spoke about selling an oil block for $1 billion. For what? What did he do to deserve getting an oil block for $1 billion? Dan Etete, former minister for Petroleum Resources, for example, also sold his not too long ago for $6 billion. Now, when people are able to get that kind of money from a place, you expect that they will go to sleep and just allow everything to go away. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We don't have legislators who can resist that kind of pressure, unfortunately.
The picture you're painting right now, it's not very encouraging, you know, but I want to believe that there is a way around all this, you know, how do you call it, challenges, obstacles. Okay, there should be a light, it should be light at the end of the tunnel. And now, present NNPC Group Managing Director talking about Andrew Yakubu.
Yakubu,
yeah.
yes.
He came out to say that all the elements of the bill are being put in order, and he will see to it that, you know, that it is passed into law. What do you think about this you know, lofty idea that, you know, he has promised that he's giving to Nigeria?
Just dancing to the gallery. What can he do? What can the NNPC do? The ball is squarely in the court of the legislators, of the National Assembly.
Okay.
There's nothing NNPC is going to do, except if they want to, I'm sorry to say, carry Ghana must go back to facilitate this thing. Look, the things that have happened in the recent past should let everybody sit down and have a rethink about what kind of a nation we're living in today. And if we are going to agree to let things continue the way they are going now. Now, why all of a sudden? This PIB started from 2008. Now, why are we talking about it now? Why the urgency? 1st of January, the president came out to deregulate the industry.
Okay.
Oil subsidy removed. That's the reason why we're going through all this, you know, song and dance now. It's not as if the government is really or has ever been interested in reforming that sector.
Okay, it's just, are you saying it's just a distraction?
It's just a distraction,
just to buy itself more time to, you know.
This is where the president got the money to fund his last campaign. Why do you think they've not been able to prosecute those who stole the subsidy money in court? So how can the government have the will to really reform the sector? It pays the government, it pays politicians, it pays their allies to have an NNPC, a petroleum industry that is not transparent. That is the truth.
So in essence, a lot of people are benefiting from the whole chaos and the system right now, and that makes it very difficult for that bill. In short, I don't know, the way it looks right now.
I tell you what is going on now with this subsidy thing. What the regulations said up till now, for example, is that for you to import petrol into the country, fuel into the country, you must have a capacity. That means you must have storage facilities, a tank farm. Then you must have a number of petrol stations in the country. Now, what is going on is that there is a lot of demand for petrol stations now, because the legislators are aware that we're going back to that regime where, you know, when the capacity was there, when they said you must have this capacity, only few people could meet
up.
So they had to now say, let's allow others to come in. And that's what led to all the problems. Now they're going back to say, you must have that capacity before we can allow you to import fuel into the country. Which eliminates a lot of people. But now there is a lot of demand for petrol stations. Who are those behind those demands? Legislators. Because they know we're going back to insisting that if you don't have the capacity, you can't import.
This seems to look like a vicious cycle.
It is a vicious cycle. We need something more than dancing to the gallery to address the issues of Nigeria. The main problem is corruption. If you don't deal with corruption, we won't make any progress. It's as easy as that. We are not the only country that has tried to do this. Brazil has done it. Venezuela has done it. Singapore, I think. Malaysia has done it. They have succeeded. But they dealt with corruption before they could succeed.
So you're saying the answer lies in us confronting this this monster, which is corruption.
These are symptoms.
Symptoms.
PIB symptoms. The root cause has to be dealt with.
The root cause. All right, still on this issue of the Petroleum Industry Bill. Petroleum Minister Alison Madueke said we have looked at the reconfiguration of the NNPC to ensure that going forward it becomes a commercial entity that it should have been a long time ago. Yes, we like the sound of that, but you know, what is your position on this?
Look,
as you said earlier,
commercial entity within the next 3 years. The bill says the government has 3 years to commercialize.
Yes.
Partly commercialized, not fully.
Okay.
Now, what will happen within the next few years will determine if that commercialization is going to be successful or not.
Okay.
What we have now is that the federal government funds the NNPC. Now, if we say they should become commercial, that means the NNPC has to look for its own money.
Yes.
The NNPC can now go offshore and drill for crude oil, just like any other company.
Like another company.
Now, it's hoped that when they have to get money, then they will have to become accountable, because the whole thing right now is, you know, secrecy. But the joint venture agreements between Nigeria and Shell, Mobil, Chevron, and all that, the PIB does not address that.
Okay.
That will still be left to be run by the government. And that is where the corruption is. So you're saying commercialization, fine. But it's not going to affect the major thing on ground. So how commercial can they be? Do you understand what I'm saying? How commercial without addressing the chunk of it, the real meat of it? They are not addressing it.
So it's more like window dressing.
It's more like window dressing.
If you look at it, it's not far-reaching in terms of
it's
impact.
not. It's not. I don't want to be pessimistic, but we have to face the truth to get out of the darkness that seems to have covered the land.
Okay.
That's just it. It's not commercialization, fine. In 3 years' time, let's see if we are going to be able to get there. Because I keep saying the political will is not there. The government cannot look Shell in the face and say, get out of Nigeria.
Okay.
Even countries like Iraq. Now, the PIB, one of the arguments have been that, look, exactly how much tax should these people pay, these foreign oil companies, how much tax should they pay? Drilling offshore, deep drilling, for example, how much does it cost? We've been at it for how many years? Oil was discovered in the 70s. We're in 2012. Up till now, the government can't come up with a figure and say, this is how much it costs you to drill. They can't.
Even the gas flaring issue.
Even the gas flaring
issue. We've shifted the post so many times. You know, first it was 2010. It was moved again. Moved again.
These are the challenges, because they can't look these people in the face and tell them, get out. The margin that they have in other countries where they drill crude is so much narrower than what they have in Nigeria. They accept marginal profit in other countries. They come to Nigeria, they don't want to accept it because they know the officials, the government is corrupt, and they can be bribed.
Right. There are indications that the federal government is planning a new marginal oil field bid rounds. They're expected to begin by the third quarter of the year. Do you think this activity, do you think it's needed at this time, sir?
The government is broke. They want to raise money, so they have to do it. Now, if it is going to be transparent, of course, foreigners will come in. Not like what happened the last time when it was largely boycotted, because they had, in fact, pre-selected the people.
Okay.
So if that is what is going to happen again, of course, people who can only do business in transparent environments will not come in.
All right.
And so we'll be back to square one.
Wow. So tell me, sir, we run out of time right now. So I want you to leave us with something that Nigerians can hold on to. So what do you think should be the way forward?
The point is that we are the hope of the nation.
Okay.
Every Nigerian. We should not look to the government. We should believe in ourselves, because you, myself, someday we can be in government. And if we do not believe in transparency, if we are not anti-corruption, we won't make any change. So instead of talking about all these bills, instead of thinking that, you know, we have a magic wand, let's look within. It's going to take people to run this industry. If we have the right people there, things will go on fine. If we have the wrong people, we keep going round in circles, and there will be no change.
Okay, sure.
So let's look to ourselves and believe in ourselves, and believe that being honest, being hardworking, being diligent, you can still be a success. You don't have to steal. You don't have to deceive people. You don't have to be corrupt to be a wealthy person.
You don't have to be corrupt to be a wealthy person. And one thing that threatens the corporate existence of Nigeria is corruption. A lot of people have said that, and definitely corruption is one monster that needs to be tackled right now if the petroleum industry bill is supposed to impact and do what it has promised, what it has been promised to achieve in talking about the oil sector of Nigeria. Well, that's all we've been able to take right now. We can take on Let's Talk. And with me, I've been talking with a gentleman named Mr. Adeniyi Odunsi. He's a legal practitioner. I really thank you, sir, for coming on the show. I had a wonderful time with you. I hope you come around next time. He's always willing to come on the show and give us some good information. Well, I hope you had a wonderful time. My name is Henry Williams, and I look to seeing you tomorrow too. Have a wonderful day.
You're welcome to Let's Talk.
We should sit down and talk. We need to sit down and talk. Iron out how Nigeria corruption, how we're going to do our job.
If one can stand up and say no to corruption, we're going to do our job, because you're telling the system, you are not just doing good for yourself or for the nation alone, you also do good for the future.
Boko Haram is an attack, it's a spiritual attack. It's a satanic attack on Nigeria. We must, if we come to recognize it, we will understand then how to look for the solution.
The Sovereign National Conference, how do we want to achieve that in our present system? We need to sit down and iron out how Nigeria